our morning devotional. So let's get our Bibles out and let's turn over to Matthew chapter 11. Matthew chapter 11, I'm going to begin reading in verse 16. Again, that's Matthew 11, beginning in verse 16. But to what shall I liken this generation? It is like children sitting in the marketplaces and calling to their companions and saying, We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We mourned to you, and you did not lament. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Look, a glutton and a winebibber, a friend of tax collectors and sinners, but wisdom is justified by her children. Have you ever been around or know somebody, maybe you've been around individuals who nothing ever satisfies them? It's as if they wake up in the morning and they have a little burr in their bonnet and they just are bound and determined to be unsatisfied during the entire day. They're not content with anything. Everything bothers them. They have a negative thing to say about everything and everybody. And that's exactly what we're finding in this passage. This is how Jesus is describing that generation of his day. He says they're hard-hearted and hard-headed. They're closed-minded and obstinate in their attitudes. And he gives the example of how they treated John and then now how they're treating him. They treated John, they looked at John and they rejected him because, you know what, he separated himself from the rest of the world. And he dressed strangely. And you know what? He spoke a little different than we were used to. And he didn't act like the rest of us. And he even ate differently. And so they look at John, and because he doesn't fit their mold, they say, well, you know what? John has a demon. And they tossed him aside. Now here Jesus comes. He's interacting in individuals' lives. He's participating in the normal activities of life. He's not doing anything that should offend anybody. He's not having relationships, or he's having relationships with people, and he's not distancing himself, and yet he's rejected too. And the reason why is because he did not succumb to the social norms of the day. Jesus continually did what was right. And he didn't push people aside. He didn't throw people away. He reached out to them and tried to reach them. And the Jews saw that and saw that he didn't conform to their way of thinking, and they refused him. His generation was just determined to be dissatisfied with everything. And when we look around our day, we see that as well, don't we? People who are just unsatisfied. They're determined to be critical about the church, about the eldership, about the preachers. Even Jesus himself they'll complain about. Why? Because they're just like that generation. They're hard-headed and hard-hearted. We need to always strive, do our best to strive to avoid that type of attitude and that way of thinking. And when we feel ourselves get into that type of rut and maybe feel ourselves being unsatisfied with what's going around, maybe we just need to stop, get very introspective for a minute, and see what's causing that, what's at the very heart of that. And then when we see what's at the heart of that, push it aside and get rid of it. And remember all the blessings that we have in Jesus. This is Mike Peters with the Pottsville Church of Christ, and I hope these morning devotionals are a blessing to you. I hope they're giving you a positive start to your day. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit that like button down there, that thumbs up button, and then hit the bell notification. And that will notify you when other videos come online. If you're watching this through the Facebook link, like the link and share it on your page, and that will help us to get the message of Jesus out to as many people as possible. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And don't forget, always be praying.